This is the first edition of the sixth edition for the year 2026. Happy New Year to you and welcome. I'm Dr Egbe. Our top stories today. President Bola Tinubu pledges inclusive growth and improved security in 2026. Implementation of the new tax laws begin despite calls for its suspension. Fires killed dozens at Swiss resort, gut 19th century church in the Netherlands. Details in a moment. We begin with President Bola Tinubu's New Year message, assuring Nigerians that 2026 will bring greater prosperity for all. Speaking on Thursday, the president said his administration will keep pushing key reforms with a focus on building a resilient, inclusive, and growth-driven economy. He noted that 2025 ended on a strong note, with steady GDP growth expected to exceed 4%, lower inflation now below 15%, improved exchange rate stability, and sustained trade surpluses. Meanwhile, former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has criticized President Bola Tinubu's administration over the economy, insecurity, and governance, accusing it of incompetent, lawlessness, and political intimidation. Mr. Atiku says 2025 was one of the most punishing years in Nigeria's recent history, hinged on economic mismanagement and governance without empathy under the All Progressives Congress-led federal government. He accused the ruling party of deliberately weakening Nigeria's democratic institutions and state capture. And staying with New Year messages, the Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has urged his supporters to remain calm and ignore what he described as sounds of war as the state ushered in the new year. The governor made the call during a crossover service held at the Government House Chapel in Port Harcourt. The governor encouraged the people of Rivers State to remain steadfast and hopeful in 2026, assuring them that peace, stability, and renewed development efforts would define the year ahead.
Don't be troubled by the sound of war that you're hearing. We have stepped into 2026 with a very strong assurance. Trust in the Lord will never be put to shame. It should not be carried away or scared by the stories of war. Then this thing gently and quietly to allow this God is going to give to us. The war made it possible for us to still stand here to say 2026. We are God. We will continue to bring us support, not by noise, not by threats. But we are showing the people of the states that in a peaceful and understanding manner, Tinubu will have his way.
As Nigerians mark the commencement of the new year, many residents in the Federal Capital Territory visited recreational parks to unwind with friends and family. Our correspondent Idong Joseph visited the Millennium Park, a public recreation spot in the Federal Capital Territory, and now reports.
The new year is usually a time of excitement, reflection, and renewed expectations. For many residents in the Federal Capital Territory, the new year is more than a change of dates on the calendar. It represents hope, reflection, and the possibility of a better future.
New Year is a thing of joy to me. And New Year is celebrated by all Christians and Muslims. I'm not like that. Every day in my life is a good day to me. I don't have a solution in my life. What I did this year, by God's grace, like next year, God will do greater things for me next year in Jesus' name.
It means a new beginning, new fresh starts, and making me achieve things that I didn't achieve the other year.
New Year's mean you repent the thing you do for last year. You were enter to new year. That new year you enter, you will change. The thing you do last year, you will change to enter new year. We started year with them, they are no more. Since God I kept you to reach to December to cross over the new year to appreciating God, to thank God for that. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. There are some people now no more.
Despite economic challenges, they say faith remains central as prayer for good health, peace, and stability is their expectations for the new year.
My expectation for this new year is to achieve what I did not achieve the last year and still improve more, because there are a lot of mistakes I made last year and I would love to correct them this new year.
Expectation for new year, I'm expecting God to change my life, to change my story, to carry me from January to December, to reach to that December. It's a good thing if I reach that December. Yes, because this year I thanking God. God has given me a job. Last year I not get the job. This year God give me a job. I thanking God the way God give me that job. I'm working. I'm feeding my family. We are doing well.
Many remain hopeful that the new year will bring renewed strength, fulfilled dreams, and better opportunities. In Abuja for News Central, Blessing Akibe.
We do apologize for that mix-up. Instead of seeing the people at the Millennium Park, we saw the expectations from residents of Abuja. But not to worry, you get to see Dong's report about how the people are spending their holiday with family and friends unwinding. But let's move on now to talk about the new tax law. Nigeria has begun the implementation of the law and fiscal reforms today, January the 1st, 2026, despite public concerns. President Bola Tinubu, who signed the reforms into law in June 2025, reaffirmed their rollout date, dismissing calls for a delay. He assured Nigerians the changes won't add extra burdens. A committee chairman, Taiwo Yedele, backed the move, saying it's key to fixing the nation's revenue system.
And I think it's pretty much information out there while the government has embarked on this journey to pretty much harmonize our tax structure in the country, in a bid to also improve tax collection, because one of the issues that we've had over time has been the fact that we have a number of businesses and individuals, especially high earning people, who evade taxes and have not been quite compliant when it comes to taxation. And then you also have issues of multiple taxation, either from states, local government, and even from the federal level on businesses and individuals. So again, what this reform has tried to do is to harmonize the tax system and in a way come up with some form of progressive timetable or calendar that helps to reduce the burden, tax burden on low-earning individuals and corporates, while also taxing, pretty much imposing higher taxes on higher earners. What these would do is going to help beyond improving tax collection, is also going to help simplify tax collection. So if you look at the medium-term expenditure framework that was released for 2026 and 2028, you see that oil revenue has not been doing well again, as has been the case over time. And what that tells you that in the medium to long term, it would be non-sustainable to rely on revenues coming from the international oil market, either as a result of the volatility in international crude oil prices or the inability of Nigeria to be able to meet production quota. So there's need to source those revenues from other side. And one of those things is to be able to tighten collection around the non-oil tax side of things. And this is geared towards that. I don't expect that in 2026, miraculously.
Meanwhile, the former presidential candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Dumebi Kachikwu, has asked President Bola Tinubu to halt the implementation process of the new tax regime. Kachikwu says the new regime will increase the burden of hardship on poor citizens and deny them the expected benefits of the bold economic reforms.
My fear is that if implemented as promised by our president, the tax reforms will instigate a crisis of unprecedented proportions in our nation, which no one can afford, especially with our current security issues. I have applauded some of the president's bold initiatives, and if I choose not run for office, I will support him any day. I won't be failed politicians masquerading as the opposition. But I must tell him today that I'm not in support of this tax reform or any other reform that further decimates the livelihoods of ordinary Nigerians. He can't champion his renewed hope agenda whilst at the same time cutting short the hopes of Nigerians.
I'm now being joined virtually by Dr. Femi Egbesola, National President, Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria. Dr. Egbesola, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you, and Happy New Year. So a real quick one. I mean, I understand that we've lost him there. Well, I'm sure we'll get him back. He'll also weigh into this next stories that we're going into. The National Labour Congress has called on the federal government to urgently review workers' wages in 2026, citing rising inflation and growing economic hardship. In a New Year address, the NLC President Joe Ajaero said salaries must reflect a living wage rather than income meant only for survival. Ajaero described 2025 as a difficult year for workers, but expressed hope for improved engagement with the government in the new year. He also urged workers to remain united and vigilant, even as the NLC continues to hold leaders accountable. And to budget matters, Governor Hope Uzodinma has signed the 1.44 trillion naira 2026 Imo State budget into law, reaffirming his commitments to improving the lives of the people of the state. The budget signing ceremony took place on Wednesday at Ezeachi in Olu local government area. News Central's correspondent Alex Obunaya reports.
The signing is going on.
Governor Hope Uzodinma has signed the 2026 Imo State Appropriation Bill into law, marking another significant step in the state's development agenda. The signing ceremony, which took place at the Government House Annex in Ezeachi, Olu in Imo State, attracted top government officials, lawmakers, and party stakeholders from across the state. Speaking at the event, Governor Uzodinma assured the people of Imo State of his unwavering determination to leave the state better than he met it, noting that the 2026 budget is designed to consolidate on infrastructure development, security, and improved welfare for citizens.
Let our people feel the impact of the money spent. That is important. That is only to return and checks I'm looking for. How my people will be happy. The moment our people are happy, the moment they feel that the electricity is 24 hours non-stop, that is the good drinking water, hospitals are there, the roads are available, education qualitative, then we don't need any auditor to come to us to ask us what did you do with the money, because the people before you say it will tell you what the money has been used for. This budget is very comprehensive and detailed. This budget has taken care of, if well implemented, both the small and medium enterprises, local and foreign investors, and all the revenue generating agencies will have an environment to operate.
Earlier, the Deputy Speaker of the State House of Assembly, Amarachi Nwanyanwu, praised the governor for what he described as his sterling leadership qualities and people-oriented governance.
To the glory of God, sir, under your leadership, these two arms of government, the executive arm and the legislative arm, has shown that separation of powers does not mean separation of purpose. Your Excellency, you have done exceedingly well in achieving that. I and my colleagues will promise a more robust and result-oriented oversight functions this coming year.
With the signing of the budget into law, expectations are high that its implementation will further accelerate development and improve the standard of living for residents of Imo State. In Imo, for News Central, Alex Obunaya.
We'll take a moment and when we return, hopefully we would have gotten Dr. Egbesola back and we'll look at the tax situation, the new tax law, and how it's affecting small businesses. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, here's a recap of our top stories. President Tinubu pledges inclusive growth and improved security in 2026. Implementation of the new tax laws begin despite calls for the suspension And fires killed dozens at Suez Resort, got 19th century church in the Netherlands. Now, we told you earlier that Nigeria has begun the implementation of the new tax laws, being January 1, and the president has reaffirmed this date for the rollout. Now, we're being joined by Dr. Femi Egbesola, National President, Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria. Let's look at how this will affect these businesses. Dr. Egbesola, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Compliments.
Same to you, and Happy New Year. So let's get into this. And some will say that the new tax regime would actually benefit the small business owners more than any other person, especially considering that if you're earning just about 800,000, you're tax exempt. But yet, we still have people who are complaining that it is not good for the small businesses. Do you agree with this?
Well, there's a mixed perception between reality and perception. And I think for us, this law, this new tax law is very good for us. It has a lot of advantages for SME industry. It brings a lot of relief for us if only we are aware enough and we are able to comply with the dictates of the new tax law. Well, some also have this mixed feeling that it is burdensome. I really don't think it is burdensome, going by the benefits. Right now, what I think is that the awareness is still low, and many MSMEs are not still aware of the benefits that comes with the new tax law. I also think that they worry about the enforcement and the need to go digital. You know, this new tax law has to do with digital filing, and some of the requirements also has to be done digitally. Many of the MSMEs are not yet aware of this. Those who are aware of it are not yet prepared enough to go through this route. And for that reason, they see it as burdensome. Some develop some fear about it. But I think along the line, everyone will come to understand that for those whose turnover threshold is not more than 100 million naira per annum, it is indeed a big relief for us. And it's going to give us a lot of benefits if only we can apply it, comply with the dictates, and then be on the side of the law.
I mean, Dr. Egbesola, you've talked about the question of awareness. Now, awareness of the law itself and the processes involved, what everybody needs to do in terms of filing and monitoring and enforcement. That enforcement side, it's a subject matter altogether on its own. But the question of awareness, what can be done now, especially seeing that the law has kicked in?
Well, awareness is key. For any policy to work, those you want to enforce the policy on, or you want to go by the policy, must know that kind of policy very well, know the modalities, and know how to comply. This is not the case with this particular tax law. Yes, virtually everybody is aware there's a new tax law in town, but they are not aware of the modalities. They are not aware of what they really need to do specifically. And they are not also aware how big they can go about compliance, how they can go about digital filing and all of that. That is still very low. So I think there should be more about awareness campaign by tax authorities. I also think business associations too need to intensify more about creating publicity and awareness on this. And for that reason, I am one of those that also support the opinion that this law enforcement or the start of this new tax law should be in phases in the sense that larger corporations, larger companies who have better structures can start full scale with the new tax law and with compliance issues, while the vulnerable ones, particularly the nano, the micro, and some part of the small businesses, are given some time to be able to come up with the dictates of the new tax law. Yes, they can begin to practice the new tax law, but the compliance should be delayed for some time. I think it's important that this is done in phases if the federal government wants to get the best out of it. It is important also to ensure that the campaign is not just structured for the elites. The kind of campaign we have now is going more to the elite class, those who are already structured. I think we should begin to look at how to simplify it further, perhaps bringing it down to the languages they understand in their locality or in their areas, to be able to understand the law. It is difficult for you to enforce anything the people don't really understand. That is key, and that's where government needs to work on. Talking about business membership organization, you remember that I said we should also support in intensifying this awareness. But there should also be a very strong handshake between the tax authorities and this business membership organization if they have to do it well. A lot needs to be done by the business membership organization, but little will be achieved if this handshake, if this collaboration is not there.
Thank you very much. Dr. Femi Egbesola is the national president of the Association of Small Business Owners of Nigeria, ASBON. Thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you very much for having me.
And a happy new year to you. All right, gunmen on Wednesday night attacked and set ablaze the divisional police headquarters in Ipele community or local government area of Ondo State. Assailants numbering between 20 and 30 reportedly stormed the station around 9:40 p.m., firing assault rifles and using dynamite, which led to the destruction of the building and several exhibits. The Ondo State Police Command confirmed the attack, stating that no lives were lost and dismissing reports of a church attack. The attackers fled before security forces arrived. The Commissioner of Police, Adebo Alilawal, has deployed additional tactical units and special forces to restore order as a coordinated manhunt for the attackers is underway. And the Defense Headquarters says that a detailed battle damage assessment is still ongoing following the recent precision strikes carried out by the United States in collaboration with the Nigerian military. Now, Director of Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, disclosed this while addressing journalists during the Defense Headquarters end-of-year media briefing in Abuja.
There's the process of battle damage assessment. We are still in that process, and I can assure you that once that is completed, we will communicate to the public all our observations. However, for now, let us rely on the statement that was made by the Presidency and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Let it suffice. But I can assure you that in due course, we will give you all the information that we require for that strike.
We'll take another break. When we return, we're looking at the entertainment industry, Nollywood, and the Nigerian economy. Join us again. Welcome back. A tragic accident involving an 18-seater commercial bus traveling from Lagos to Ibadan has collided with a truck from Ibadan opposite the NASFA junction along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, with multiple passengers feared dead. Eyewitnesses say the truck was reportedly making a U-turn near the junction when the bus ran underneath, leaving several passengers trapped and many unconscious at the scene. Emergency responders and local residents were seen working frantically to rescue the victims. The spokesperson for the Federal Road Safety Corps in Ogun State, Afolabi Odunsi Oyewole, confirmed that the command had been alerted but had not yet received a full report. Now, our correspondent Israel Eferabo is on the scene and joins us to give us an update on the situation. Israel, I mean, it's supposed to be a happy new year to you, but it doesn't look like a happy new year where you are right now. What's the situation?
Well, good evening to you and happy new year to you as well. So we are at the scene where just about 3 hours ago, there was a deadly crash that happened here at this junction. It's just, like you said in your introduction, it is just opposite this NASFAT Islamic Center here on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Now, if you look closely here to this junction here, you will see bottles and crates of drinks. Apparently, the trailer, or the truck rather, that was trying to make that U-turn, from what we have gathered, was carrying these empty bottles and these crates of drinks. And before this incident happened, when we got here, we saw that the whole place has already been cleared by the agencies A while back, we saw men of the Federal Road Safety Corps also making a U-turn just here, the place where you have the bike man right now, and you can see. So that's exactly how they make a U-turn right here. And this was exactly how, just a simulation of what could have happened when the vehicle crashed and rammed into the trailer earlier on. But the good part is the road has been cleared right now. We have no casualties here at the moment. We have no idea if during rescue efforts, maybe there was anyone who died in this accident. We have no idea. The men of the FRSC that we saw here on the ground about 30 minutes ago, they declined to speak to News Central, and so we await official confirmation of of how this whole thing happened and what could have also led to this accident here. Nieta?
The area has been cleared, because I can just imagine what it would be like. I mean, now with a lot of vehicular movement there, being the festive period and a lot of people traveling, I can imagine the kind of traffic that would have built up around there if that crash scene had not been cleared. Thank you so much, Israel. And once again, a happy new year to you. Now, Nigeria's homegrown film industry, Nollywood, continues to play a pivotal role in the country's economic growth. Analysts say the sector not only entertains millions, but also creates jobs for millions of other people. It also supports related industries, including fashion, music, and tourism. In 2025, Nigeria's creative economy reached 14.8 billion, with Nollywood contributing a significant portion through cinema, streaming, and digital content. By August, cinema earnings alone hit 10 billion naira, reflecting a 58% growth from the previous year. Blockbusters such as Funke Akindele's Behind the Scenes and Yemi Filmboy Morafa's Ginger grossed over 1 billion naira combined, proving that locally produced films can compete commercially. Now, from box office hits to record-breaking ticket sales, Nollywood continues to prove that it's not just about entertainment. It's a major force now in Nigeria's creative economy. 2025 has seen films shatter records, generate billions in revenue, and cement Nigeria's place in the global film market. Now, here's a look at the top 20 highest grossing Nollywood films of all times. We start out with Everybody Loves Jennifer. That was in 2024, directed by Funke Akindele and Tunde Olaoye. This comedy blockbuster raked in 1.88 billion naira, topping the charts and delighting audiences nationwide. A Tribe Called Judah in 2023, another Funke Akindele hit, also co-directed with Adeoluwa Owu, grossed 1.41 billion naira, proving the power of engaging storytelling. Behind the Scenes 2025, directed by Funke Akindele and Tunde Olaoye, this film pulled in 1.10 billion, highlighting the rising influence of Nollywood in recent years. And of course, I think it might get beyond that 1.1 billion. Battle on Booker Street 2022, a collaborative effort between Funke and Toby Makinde, earned 668.4 million naira, celebrated for its comedy and relatable themes. Omo Ghetto, the saga 2020, directed by Funke and JJC Skills, action comedy grossed 636.1 million naira, reinforcing the appeal of Nollywood franchises. Ginger 2025, Yemi Filmboy Morafa's film, earned 521.9 million naira, a testament to the new wave of directors making waves in the industry. Alakada, Bad and Bourgeois 2024, Adebayo Tijani's hit brought in 500.6 million naira, showing that comedy remains a strong box office draw. The Wedding Party 2016, directed by Kemi Adetiba, now grossed 452.3 million, making weddings a Nollywood staple. The Wedding Party 2, in Nia Akimolayon's sequel, followed up with a 433.2 million, proving audiences love a good follow-up. Ori, Rebirth in 2025, directed by Muyiwa Ademola and team, this mystical drama grossed 419.6 million, highlighting Nollywood's diversity. Chief Daddy 2018, Nia Kimolayon's family comedy, 387.5 million naira, cementing ensemble cast as a winning formula. Queen Latifah 2024 Adeoluwa's Owu's release brought in 365.5 million. The Waiter, Toka Magbora's film, pulled in 363.6 million naira, blending comedy and social commentary. Real Love 2025 Kayode Kasumu's hit brought in 356.8 million, reinforcing dominant in romantic drama. Brotherhood 2022, directed by Lukman Ali, earned 328.9 million naira. And then King of Thieves 2022, Tokwe Adebayo and Adebayo Tijani's film, pulled in 320.8 million. A crime story loved by audiences. Malaika in 2023, Steve Sodia's drama grossed 303.5 million. And Sugar Rush 2019, Kayode Kasumu's 287.1 million. Ijakumo 2022, directed by Adebayo Tijani and Steve Sodia, earned 278.5. Christmas in Miami 2021, Robert Peters' festive film, pulled in 265.6, proving that Nollywood thrives in every season. Now, that is a real data of the highest grossing movies in Nollywood in Nigeria. But we have, well, I call it a cast. One of them is laughing here. We have a cast, so to speak, on the 6th edition today. Professor Shola Fosudo joins us virtually. He's a theater scholar and lecturer at Lagos State University. Thank you for joining us, Prof.
Thank you very much for having me.
Here in the studio, we have Dimbo Atia, CEO of ITK Media. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having
me. And Uche Chukwu Okoro, founder and creative lead at Murdoch Incorporated, joins us from our studio in Lagos. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let me start with you, the producer who is here, Dimbo. You are a producer, and you've had, I mean, reeling out that data. The least of them was over 200 million naira. What does that say of the industry? Growth or?
Well, the beginning of the year looked like it was doom and gloom. Like it looked like everything was going to be bad, because at the end of 2024, we got the news that, of course, one of the benefactors of the industry had pulled out as a streamer. And all of a sudden, filmmakers were left with no other distributing option but the cinema. And, because at that point, we had conditioned ourselves to making films that were just go straight to the streamers, And so now, 2025, okay, what's going to happen? It looked like it was really going to be a bad year. But I mean, if you look at the numbers, at the end of the year, last year, about 15 point something billion in sales tickets alone, that is a massive growth, because that's about 58% of the growth in the industry. So yes, Nollywood has done well, despite what it looked like from the beginning of the year. I would say we've done very well.
Okay. Okay, Professor Fosudo, you are a thespian, you're a teacher, you have been in this industry. If I dare say, I think I grew up watching some of your shows. But Prof, would you say this money is rolling in is a testament of growth in the industry? We're not talking about the economy yet. We'll get to that in a bit.
Okay, thank you. Certainly, it's a sign that the industry is doing well. We only want to believe that some of these data, are very correct. I hope you got the data directly from the cinemas, because sometimes, the industry people have a way of hyping, what they are doing, particularly in terms of the money they are making. I don't know also if that translates to the way they pay their artists, because you hear that a film has grossed 1 billion, and if you ask some of the artists that are in that field, they'll be telling you how much they were paid, and you'll be shocked. So, but certainly the industry has grown from the time that when we started, films were being distributed and marketed by some marketers, in Idumota through the DVD and CD modes, and they take them all around the country. But when the digital platforms came, and then the cinemas also came, the game changed. And I'm so excited that Nigerians actually have, grown with the culture of going to cinemas. So I believe that also affected the income levels of the films that are doing well.
Okay,
so it's kind of good, and we're happy, for that.
Okay, let me take it to the distributor who is here with us. Atiku Abubakar, you are a distributor. Would the data we put out there, is it correct? Does it also translate? I'll ask the producer that one. But is that data correct, or is it being made up?
All right. So when it comes to box office numbers, one thing is an imperative. We only report the gross income revenue. We never report the profit. But one thing we should understand is those numbers, number one, they help bring in investors. They help create buzz around the movie, and essentially they help potential people who would want to invest in the economy know that, oh, something is happening here in Nigeria and we need to see what's happening there. Now, Funke Akindele has marked 1.1 billion in gross box office revenue, but like I said, that's just what we report. But at the tail end of it, is that what she takes home? No. At the end of the day, the cinemas will take half of that. So if she's made 1.1 billion, let me even use a simpler figure, 1 billion. If she's made 1 billion, the cinemas will take half of that and she's left with 500 million. Out of that 500 million, her marketing cost is definitely going to be deducted from that. Out of the marketing cost, you would have her pay in some of her investors. She's definitely going to pay in some of her investors. And then most of the actors, they really do not pay them. They really do not pay them off. So some of them, they have some sort of agreement to say, oh, you can't really pay this money as at the time when we're producing this movie. So what we're going to do is I'm going to feature in this movie, but then I'm going to have a royalty in it. So for every money it makes, this is how much percentage I'm going to be taking out. So when we look at all of that figure, right, what Funke essentially will be going back home with as profit might not be up to 200 or 300 million at the end of the day. So those numbers, there's a reason why we report the gross income revenue and not the profit. Okay. And Hollywood, it's an international practice. It's done everywhere. For example, Stranger Things, they could just have announced that it made about how many billion, but there's a reason for doing that. And one of the reasons is so that people can see what's happening. It also helps filmmakers understand what the audience would want to see, and then they tailor their stories to fit that particular narrative for the next cycle of distribution or cinema runs, if you like.
Okay. You're the producer. I mean, he has explained the figures we're seeing and why we have those figures. But in terms of the economy, the economics for the producer and for the filmmaker, let's use that, the economics for the filmmaker and the Nigerian economy and the actors, how does this work? Is there growth? Is there positivity? Is there light at the end of the tunnel?
So, to be honest, I think I get to agree with Professor at the end of the day, because when you hear these numbers, like the gentleman has explained, a lot of it most times goes to the distributors or the exhibitors, pretty much because of the overheads and the large infrastructure that is required for the cinema culture to expand in Nigeria. As it is right now, I'm not sure, but I'm sure we don't have up to 200 screens in this country yet. So whatever that means, is still limited for a 200 million population. It's very limited. And then because a lot of producers actually make this film from out of pocket or from investors who are willing to take risk, a lot of times we're limited because of the lack of the fund. So most of the times we tell the stories that are within reach, the low-hanging fruit stories that we can literally just translate for people to see. And most times we compensate for it for the performance and maybe the look and feel. A lot of times we're not ambitious enough to do the things that big time. Why? Because it requires a lot of the budget. So, because when you go to the cinemas, like I said, it's limited screen. That's number one, is limiting you. And then you probably have to do a lot of dancing on TikTok for people to want to run to go and see the movie. How many people want to do that? It means the marketing. I mean, he mentioned Funke Akindele. She's huge when it comes to the marketing. It's part of the budget from day one for her. It's very important that is. As a matter of fact, if you ask me, I think her marketing budget is more than the film budget itself, because she needs to create that buzz and that awareness, And so for me, I feel like so when it goes to the actors, a lot of times we don't have those back end deals. I'm not sure. I haven't done those deals yet, but I'm sure maybe Funke Akindele has made one or two arrangements, because they will know that this film will make the numbers. I'm sure they will make some calls. But as it is right now, the formula that works for us is I pay you as an actor, we agree, and when we're done, you leave. You leave me with the success or the failure of the film. However it works, you've been paid, So I get to, if I make $1 billion out of it, I don't have to compensate you for anything unless I just want to be very generous. And so, being that we have limited resources or limited places where we can distribute, this is where investors need to begin to look at the film industry. There is a cinema culture, but we're lacking those cinemas and those screens. Okay. So, community cinema, and that is what Femi Adebayo has experimented with his film this year. I think that investors should begin to look at, my wife and I were having this conversation this morning, the idea of having community cinemas. I need
to get to Prof. We're out of time. Prof, this is a situation we're in. The movies have come in. We've heard about the funds. We've heard about the monies, the gross earnings, but the growth in terms of the actors. You are building a newer crop of actors in your environment. You're teaching them. You're building them. Is there hope for them? I mean, for job creation and for growth?
Oh, certainly. The industry is growing in leaps and bounds, and most of the younger ones that we are training, many of them are already in the industry and are doing well. But the film industry, as different from the theater industry, some of the actors, maybe like about 40%, you'll be surprised, 40% of the actors are not actually trained in the theater. Many of them just have the flair, they have the talent, and they go for auditions and they get picked. The television and film is slightly different from the stage. There are certain qualities you can have that can give you a role in the film. Your face, the way you are built, your physique, your voice. These are some of the things that can give you a role in the film. Okay. So about 35-40% of most of the actors who are doing well today in the industry are not actually from our departments.
All right, Prof, thank you so much. I have been told that we have to go. Ugochukwu Okoro, please forgive us, but we really have to go. And we'll make our time, find a way to get you back in. Let's talk about these numbers again. We've been speaking with Ugochukwu Okoro, founder and creative lead, Murdoch Incorporated, joined us from our Lagos studios. We had Dimbo Atia, CEO, ITK Media, joining us here in our Abuja studio. Thank you. We also had Professor Shola Fosudo, theater scholar and lecturer at Lagos State University. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming in, and a happy new year to you. We will take a break and we'll be back. Don't go away. Senegal's President Diomaye Faye has placed strong emphasis on ending violence against women, elevating the issue to a national priority as concerns about femicide and gender-based violence persist. He underscored that no form of violence against women will be tolerated under the law and outlined measures focused on prevention, victim protection, and strict punishment for offenders, reflecting government's commitment to tackle impunity. The announcement aligns with ongoing efforts by local activists and international campaigns aimed at combating gender-based violence and promoting women's safety across the country.
Dire avec force qu'aucune violence n'est tolérable dans la République, en particulier celle faite aux femmes. Les féminicides et toutes les atteintes commises contre les plus vulnérables. L'État poursuivra sans relâche la prévention, la protection des victimes et la sanction implacable des auteurs, afin que la dignité, la sécurité et la vie soient garanties à toutes et à tous.
A huge fire ripped through Amsterdam's 19th century Woerdenkerk tower early Thursday, having the 50-meter tower crash down. Roof wrecked, but the main building stands. Netherlands' New Year's Eve turned wild with non-stop attacks on police using fireworks and petrol bombs. 2 people died as a result of the fireworks mishaps and 3 others badly hurt. However, Rotterdam's eye hospital has helped in the fixing of eye damages, which were mostly children. It is the last year for free for all fireworks before a ban, so people spent a record 129 million euros on fireworks alone. And several people have been killed and several others injured when an explosion ripped through a bar during a New Year party at Alpine Ski Resort town of Crans-Montana in southern Switzerland. Gaten Lation, a spokesperson for the police, said the fire broke out around 1:30 a.m. at Le Constellation Lounge in Crans-Montana, and the cause remains unknown. Large crews from the emergency services responded immediately and rushed to the scene. Rescue efforts are still ongoing and the area has been closed off with a no-fly zone in place over Crans-Montana. And protesters in Iran attempted to break into a local government office in Fasa, southern Fars province, as unrest linked to a sharp currency collapse entered its 4th day. Officials say 3 police officers were injured and 4 people arrested during the confrontation. Verified social media footage showed demonstrators forcing open the gates of the governor's office before security forces responded with tear gas. Protests have also been reported in Hamadan, Lorestan provinces. Authorities declared a public holiday in Tehran, widely seen as an effort to curb demonstrations that began over rising economic hardship and have since spread to multiple cities. And that's it on the 6th edition for today. I want to thank you for being a part of it. I want to say a Happy New Year to you. Remember, send us your eyewitness report. Let's know how you're spending your new year. The WhatsApp number will be showing on the screen. Follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV and YouTube. Many thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again tomorrow in this new year. From myself and the crew, the ones you're not seeing behind the scenes, I'd hope that they'll walk into the studio, but hey, one day you'll get to see them. So thank you and have yourself a beautiful 2026. See you tomorrow.